Central Park, New York City. This is a real castle, sort of. I mean, it's a real, Central Park kind of recreation castle. Uh, there is a production of Hamlet happening about 100 yards away over the Turtle Lake. I was trying to situate the camera so that we could kind of get an angle. I'm going to maybe go over there in a second, but there is a production of Hamlet over there. I'm promoting my new book, Central Park. Behold the Summer of Hamlet. And I'm up here doing my own little modern day dress version of Hamlet on the Elsinore Castle here. I'm up on the ramparts. To be or not to be. uh, what the hell kind of question is that? We're to being it tonight up here. And, okay, so I want to address the recent controversy. I should probably do that first and foremost. I know nobody's watching. It's threatening to rain. There's thunder everywhere. It's very, the wind is kind of sweeping up. I'm a meteorologist. I'm reporting live on the weather here from Belvedere Castle, named after Mr. Belvedere, of course, the famous sitcom with Bob Uecker from the 80s, written by Shakespeare. Adapted from Shakespeare. Ba-dum-bum. Now I'm just making terrible jokes to kick things off. I'm trying to do a live broadcast for 2 hours. Hopefully it doesn't start raining, but there is a roof over my head in case. Yeah, so I've been a little bit kind of MIA over the past few days. I don't know what happened. I had like sort of I don't know, I guess I just needed like a break or something. Okay. Here comes security guy. This is a security guy with a flashlight here telling people they can't make noise. I wonder if he's probably with the theater, I guess. The Joseph Papp Public Theater. As a child, or whatever, in college, it was my dream to be in the Delacorte Theater. To be in some kind of Joseph Papp legacy theater, legacy media. That's why we came to New York, I guess, a lot of us, to not necessarily get involved with these kind of legendary institutions or anything, but the boomers left us with a lot of that stuff. We have to kind of participate in whatever the fuck they built. I don't know. Anyway, so I don't know if anybody's gonna watch this. The Instagram post I had the other day about it was just weird. I don't know. I mean, I should just say first of all, the post was like it was just something about how like people who I've just noticed. It was more about Instagram than anything. I did not mean it as like a personal attack on anybody. I love that people are booking things. I love that people are doing events. If that is absolutely the point of what we're doing at Easy Paradise and at the open mic, is to get people collaborating, get people connecting, and have spin-offs and, kind of kinetic, catalytic kind of energy. That's why, and doing it every week, it gives a place for people to come and sort of like scope out, make friends, network, as it were. That's totally what we're there for. All I'm saying, I don't know, it's just like people don't book me. Which is, I feel embarrassed, honestly. I feel embarrassed I made this post. This post was basically like, it's because Instagram puts this stuff in your face. It just knows. I keep seeing these events that are like this. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't meant at anybody in particular. I love everything that's happening. I think it's great. I just, it is frustrating in a way, putting on, a lot of people a week. I don't, and I feel like you can sort of get lost or something. I'm getting like typecast or in a way as being like the host, and a lot of people who come up at the open mic will say something about, now they're making noise. Hey, keep it down, I'm fucking live streaming over here. See, let me give you a little taste. See, there's like There's like the Upper East Side. The theater is right beyond all of that shit. You can't really see it from here. We'll go over there in a second, just to kind of show everybody. But I'm just trying to get things rolling here on Friday night, even though I know fucking, I don't know, everybody's out doing stuff. This is my show, man. This is Friday night. Let's do it. So like, yeah, I'm frustrated because I want to do more shows, and I'm embarrassed because, like, if I was a good enough performer, I wouldn't have to ask. I feel like please clap. I feel like Jeb. I've got Jeb energy. I've got please clap energy. Please book me. I didn't, I mean, I've talked about it on my live stream. I guess that's why there's no point in doing this again. But it just felt like, I don't know. I needed to communicate that somehow. And so I just kind of blurted it out. I don't know. I was kind of stressed. I was hungover. It was late Tuesday night. I had done the open mic the night before, and then I had to work Tuesday. Of course, it's getting hot, right? That kind of drives people to kind of madness and aggravation. And it's like world heat records, like everywhere. It's like the hottest it's ever been in Europe and like Phoenix and all this kind of shit. The Canadian wildfires, right, just subsided. The wildfire smoke. It's not, I don't know, is that still, I guess the air is hazardous to breathe. I have been seeing that on my fucking alerts and stuff. So I'm not trying to call anybody out. I'm sorry I went MIA on Instagram. To be honest, I got kind of overwhelmed emotionally because it was like one of those posts that was like, I don't typically do this, where like, I don't know, you're kind of like being emotional or something, and like I said, it felt like cheating or something. Like I shouldn't have to ask people to book me, like. But also, like I said, as the host, I feel like people don't really associate me with doing anything, actually. People can be surprised when they're like, oh, wow, you do stand-up comedy or you do music or this or that. It's like, but yet, everybody kind of is very nice about, being complimentary about me being a host and shit. And I love doing it. I love doing the open mic, and I love knowing everybody and seeing what they do. And I love that they book other people from the open mic. That's totally what it's for. But it would be nice. It's like all these sick gigs. It's like, gigs in like fucking, just amazing places that I would love to do gigs. I mean, my whole life is about doing gigs, for better or for worse. Probably for worse. I probably should like reprioritize. But like, for God's sake, I'm going to these comedy open mics, paying $5 to do 5 minutes to like 6 people that hate my guts and want me to fail. That's the nature of these comedy open mics. They can't enjoy themselves for some reason. They're just totally, I don't even see what the point is. The point for me is to go to these venues and play these venues and get on stage. Like, I wish the audience was a little bit in better spirits. I get why it's like this soul-killing grind doing these comedy open mics. And so that's one of the things I'm trying to provide an alternative to, with the Easy Paradise thing and the open mic on Monday, is give comedians a place that's actually like got a real audience, sort of, and that's a whole other fucking story. But yeah, I mean, it's totally about people booking stuff, but it's just frustrating because I do feel kind of cornered in that attic, and I feel like I get out once a week. If people don't come to KGB bar or some weird, sometimes I'll run into somebody at an open mic, which is always cool. Like I ran into Diego at Grizzly Pear at this open mic like 11:30 at night last Thursday, which I like those. I'd rather do an open mic at midnight than like 3 in the afternoon, especially if it's fucking comedy. It just feels like it should be late at night. It shouldn't be like, before people get off work. Or even, I don't know, there's a lot of people who like have jobs who go to these fucking open mics and stuff. It's very like professional business culture, weirdly. But not to get off subject, but I'm kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of sick of the comedy culture. Like, I feel like they're the ones that should do better. And going to these clubs, it's like there is kind of a toxic thing that gets rewarded. This kind of vicious, mean, attacking, all these racial kind of jokes that people try to make, or stereotypical kind of jokes. It fails more often than not. And why fail at something that's like mean spirited and kind of like, at this point, racist, or sexist, or some kind of religious thing or something? It's like, why not try to communicate something that's, so I don't know. By going to these open mics, I've been trying to sort of meet them where they are and try to learn how to like talk about. Oh, it's starting to rain. Is it raining over here? Is it raining on my phone? That's why I came over to the Belvedere Castle, because there is a roof here. So theoretically, if it rains, I can continue broadcasting and live streaming. Maybe I'll put it. There's like, yeah, this looks kind of good. Maybe. For a sec, we'll put it there for 1 sec. There's lightning. Maybe I should not be in Central Park when there's like thunderstorms. Should I not be live streaming in Central Park when there's thunderstorms? Is that a bad idea? Is Belvedere Castle, is this a lightning rod, do you think? Do you think this is a... They get struck by lightning live on the internet? Jesus Christ. I guess I'm not that worried about that, but I wonder if live streaming makes you more susceptible. Oh, fuck. I can't get my phone wet. This thing is... I knew this would happen as soon as I started goddamn streaming. What am I going to do? I'm fucked. I didn't bring an umbrella or anything. Okay. Well, anyway, here we are. We're trapped up on the ramparts, like Hamlet. So yeah, it's more just like my own kind of personal frustration. I'm trying to book these shows. It's hard to book these shows. And I have been getting asked to do stuff, to be honest. Like, I've done probably like the most significant poetry readings of my life in the past few months, because, stuff at Unnameable, or reading with Philip in the quartet thing, it's like that stuff has been kind of more, I don't know, there's like maybe a higher standard and stuff on those readings. But those have felt kind of weirdly hidden. Or like the reading at the funny people reading funny things. It's like I have had gigs, but it's like it's summertime. Suddenly I have all this free time. The thing that's especially frustrating, right, is seeing, like I said, Instagram puts this stuff in your face in a way that really is kind of annoying and not cool, and like aggravating and kind of like triggering. Like I said, I'm not mad at anyone in particular. I think it's great what everybody's doing. Please continue. Please continue to book people from the open mic, absolutely. But I'm just saying, just like keep me in mind, And I don't know, there has been a backlash because I am sort of like, I don't know, a maverick, or I don't know, like I'm kind of doing my own. I've been doing this a long time, and so like I'm not necessarily, a part of any one particular clique or anything. I was sort of here before a lot of these people, and I like to sort of go between the different groups, but like one of the cool things about doing it at the location that we do it at is it is sort of like a nexus and a meeting point for all these different parts of the city and of the world. And it's a literary destination. So it attracts new writers. One of the things I've been trying to focus on, because I was sort of bad about it is like a lot of the people that come in and read one time on a Monday are actually really good because it's a KGB bar and writers know what it is and they might be in town for only a certain amount of time and they might want to read at KGB bar. We get a lot of MFA people that'll come in like read once. Or people from out of town. Like a few weeks ago, we had these writers from Houston, and you could tell they had gone to one of those schools down there, one of those Texas, Houston MFA, whatever the fuck it is, Michener Center, or whatever it is, or Austin, Harry Ransom, whatever the fuck it is that's down there. And so it's like, okay, they're in town for 1 week, like. There's always excellent, excellent writers. Every week there's people bringing in really excellent, interesting essays and sort of magazine-style think pieces. People reading, notes which are really thoughtful. And then the poets, like we really do get like, and I'm not even talking about like, slam poetry is kind of its own universe in and of itself, which I don't think that, I guess I'm probably not really actually that connected with. We have competition for that on Monday night. If, not that, it's beautiful when people want to do that, but, there's the Word NYC thing and there's Nuyorican at the same time that we're doing our show. So it's like, it seems like we get kind of the people who are more kind of, well, I don't know. I've never been to either one of those shows, but we get a lot of like really interesting kind of idiosyncratic, strong writers who will come in and read once on like the open mic. And so I've tried to be better about sort of like giving those people, a good, FaceTime. Like, if you come to New York, you're only in New York for a week or something, I want them to have a great time and to make it a memorable experience for the rest of their life. They can go back wherever they live and be like, man, I read at fucking KGB bar and I fucking slammed. I slayed it in front of 50 people. I killed, like that's something, that's an experience I want people to have. It's like, a lot of what it is it's like a dream. We're selling a dream. We're selling the dream of moving to Manhattan and being a writer. But it's also kind of, we get to be innovative, or we get to sort of prolong and sort of articulate a tradition of kind of downtown club kind of poetry readings. Here comes which I think is kind of an exciting new, part of what's frustrating is like there is this explosion of energy happening where there's all these open mics, and it's super exciting. It's super exciting that there is like this scene, and it's a scene that, I feel like definitely I relate probably more to what goes on at these poetry open mics, and it's kind of more what I want to do than like what happens at these stand-up comedy open mics. I'm trying to go to these comedy open mics to sort of like fit in or whatever, and not that they're definitely a lot of fun, but I think it stopped raining. Maybe I'll move over there or something. It's really exciting, how there's all these publications and people are getting featured and new open mics are starting and but also, I was sort of ahead of the energy of a lot of this stuff. And I'm not saying this to like toot my own horn or anything. It's more just like, I'm exploring my own like history and process through this, and like what my place in this is, and like what I can do. I don't, part of my intention is like I don't want to dominate everything. I'm glad that these people that everyone my friends have started their own things and are doing their own things, and that's kind of what makes it a scene. Is like there's the thing at Till Death, and there's the thing at Pete's, and there's and then there's even things that are springing off of that. Now people are writing poetry like in the parks, and this thing has taken on its whole, and it should continue to explode like a big bang. It should just be this explosion that just causes more and more growth, and more. Ooh, shit. Should I get the fuck out of here? Oh my god. One of the things that I've been seeing in my Instagram feed, a big part of this is I'm just on Instagram too goddamn much. So I've been taking a break for the last few days. I apologize to the people that I haven't even looked at the messages. I'm afraid to look, to be honest. I'm sure they're nice, probably for the most part, but like, I'm kind of intimidated, and like I just needed a break from Instagram. The thing about doing the open mic is I'm constantly on fucking Instagram, like signing people up, posting things, trying to promote it. Like I did kind of just, and getting into that kind of like chemically addictive process of fucking checking and so part of that, right, is seeing all the things that are going on out there that you're not a part of, or maybe you are a part of, and so it felt like in February, March, there was this huge, the room was just like, it was like swollen. There was so many people in it, and that's fine. That's cool. But there was some sense that like, is it my job to like, I should have an open mic like every night of the week, and I got caught up with work stuff. When I moved, honestly, that was the big change. That apartment in Chelsea was a huge asset, obviously, and it was a facility and a headquarters where I could host people. I could operate. I had a foundation. I had kind of a footing, right? Not to mention, an excellently situated one. I was right. I could walk to KGB every week. I could have people over to my house after. I was only starting to do parties and readings and stuff, but my lease was up, right? And so, because of the nature of where I moved and the way that my life shifted, and also I was in these workshops, and like I said, I went sort of on this other path. Everybody from the open mic kind of became one group, as far as I can tell. I'm not really out there. I don't go to any of this stuff, There was also personal kind of things involved that kind of kept me from wanting to get too involved, but like, that all kind of went one, and it's because everybody lives in Bushwick or Williamsburg or Ridgewood or one of those fucking places, or Crown Heights or Bed-Stuy, and I live in fucking Midwood, and I'm at the time I was in these workshops, right, with Eddie and with Philip, and so like, I had the open mic Monday. I had 2 other workshops a week. I would do an open mic, so it was like I was kind of like cut off suddenly from everybody, right? And so there was some sense that I like disappeared or something. And I don't know. I think I got, first of all, I was just working a lot, to be honest. I was filming stuff at Poetry Project. I was filming other stuff, editing stuff, working on my own stuff. I was writing. This book is sort of the result of like, this book is February to July. So like, there's a lot of this book from March, April, May, because I was writing, that was progress. And as a writer, I think it's fun that we've all found this way to sort of live our lives in public and be performers and be sort of nightclub comedians, because everybody wants to, but in a cool way. Being a comedian at this point is just embarrassing, is what I'm finding out. Whereas being a poet is actually like where it's at. Or I don't know, like, the thing about poetry world is it's hard to perform. People want you to, I don't know. That's a big reason why I started to do comedy stuff, was just to sort of like try new things on stage. Try something challenging, try to learn a new thing, and see what that did for my other processes. See what that did for my music process. See what that did for my poetry process. Listen a little bit more to what I don't know, the dumbasses are saying. Not that comedians are dumbasses. I mean, they're. I don't want to generalize. So, I just want to do more shows, basically, is what it comes down to. And, the open mic has remained strong. It's not like, so fucking packed that you can't even get in every week, but it's been pretty packed, to be honest. This last week was the first one that really was not as busy. And, that's, to be honest, that's not unusual for like an open mic after a holiday weekend. Like last week was 4th of July. And so that was probably the busiest one we've had in like a few months, actually. And so a lot of people canceled on Monday. This is often the case. If it's like a nice weekend or if it's like nice outside, a lot of people will sign up in advance and then cancel, because it's like they just, whereas like honestly, if it rains or something, it works to our advantage. Because it's like right now, what time is it? It's like 10:30 at night. It's still nice out. I'm still outside doing shit. I'd almost rather be outside, right? We're at a bar that has like some kind of open patio or open front or something. Whereas, do you really want to be in the David Lynch Twin Peaks fucking nightmare, all fucking year? People like to do it in wintertime, but I get it. I don't expect the same people to come all the fucking time. I want to respect the regulars and honor them and give them, a good time and a good place. And but I also have to have new people coming in, particularly because it's summertime. A lot of people out of town, this and that. But I'm also trying to branch out, right? I'm trying to figure out how I can, it's like part of my frustration is I do feel like there's a lot of excitement and there's a lot of energy and something is happening here, right? There's like a movement sort of happening. But also, like, I'm sort of trapped in the situation where I'm living in Midwood and I'm really not, and I don't know how to get out of it. I feel kind of helpless. I feel like, I'm just not going to succeed. I'm not going to make enough money to ever move out. Every room in New York City is so expensive now. And so even though, like, this is a really exciting time in my life and I'm really proud of everyone who performs in the shows that we're doing, because they're the ones that make it great, but I'm also, like, not enjoying it as much as I could because, like, I'm really not involved, at the open mic on Monday. Like, I'm really working the whole fucking time, and so I don't have that much time to talk to people, and everybody leaves before it's over, so it's like I'm not really hanging out with anybody. And then I'm so exhausted from that, I don't really get out till Thursday or Friday. By the time that happens, the week is kind of already, I got to get ready for Monday. And also, well, that's part of why I made this post, right? Because I do feel like what we're trying to create, it's sort of about unifying all of this stuff, right? It's beautiful that there's all these events, in Brooklyn and Uptown and in New Jersey, and we have people that come in from each of them and go out to their own stuff and start their own stuff and book their own shows. That's beautiful, but it's like, weave me into that, like, I think for one thing, I think it would help the show, like, I am a good performer. I'm not exactly sure what I do, but like I will add some dynamic, catalytic kind of presence to your show, and people will probably recognize me on the show. You know, like if you're booking people from the open mic, though, people are like, "Oh, it's the fucking host," and it's like I just need that, right? I can't just be like the guy in Red Room in a suit and then I don't exist anywhere else. Like I need to be making public appearances and sort of weaving all of this together. You know, I've gotten caught up in a lot of things. Like I said, where I live is kind of constrictive. It's not easy to get anywhere in Williamsburg or Bushwick or anything like that from where I live. I got to take the Q to Union Square or Canal Street and then transfer to go out to, you know, it's like that takes an hour at least, an hour 5. And so, you know, I don't get to those neighborhoods. Plus, it's also like I've gotten caught up on this other track, let's say, right? Where I've been spending time, and it's been important to me, you know, like I really love spending time with the people I've been spending time with and being in sort of poetry. There has been this kind of poetry school happening in my own life in a weird way, simultaneous with the comedy career that's just blossoming. And the music. I'm returning with music, you know, where we played our first System Lord gig about a week and a half ago or something, and it was a lot of fun. You know, doing stand-up comedy and doing the open mic kind of, you know, now I feel like new things on stage are happening, sort of more comfortable. Man, the best thing I've seen recently is this Miles Davis concert from 1987. It's incredible. He's got this wireless trumpet, and he's just like pacing around the whole time. He's literally just like walking around, and the stage is almost like an environment. He's got like a couple synthesizers. He's got his, and they play amazing. They play Time After Time by Cyndi Lauper. They play Michael Jackson, Human Nature. They play We Are the World, in addition to a bunch of original compositions, which are amazing and kind of like, they're beautiful. They're really, it's the best performance music anything I've seen recently. Like, it's really, really amazing sounding, but it's reflective of the times. You know, he kind of went very flamboyant in the 80s in a way that really worked as far as I'm concerned. I think it's really amazing. And it's free jazz, it's kind of environmental. The sounds are kind of coming from everywhere. And his playing is, he's got this wireless trumpet. And so I've been thinking about that. Playing with System Lord is kind of a fun, you know, it's harder to think about comedy in those kind of terms because you're trying to play by these certain rules to fit in with these clubs. Whereas like it could be a really interesting space. And, you know, when I started out doing it, it was, and I'm still kind of doing wild performance art type of things. That's why I'm not, you know, that embraced at these clubs. But, you know, it is frustrating having this open mic that people respond to and are positive about, you know, me as a host or whatever. And yet, you know, why can't I get a job doing that on McDougal Street? You know, why won't they let me do an open mic at Grizzly Pear, right? Let me fucking do a show. You know, I think a tourist, honestly, here's my honest opinion. I think a tourist or whoever is paying to see these fucking shows on McDougal Street, NYU students or, you know, just kind of wide-eyed gawkers who come to the city, and are just like, yeah, I'll see a comedy show, $10, $20, whatever. They would rather see something like more like a UCB show, I would imagine. Something that's like, I don't know, more contemporary, you know, or like alt comedy, you know, like a Matthew Silver thing. Something more like you'd see in Brooklyn, maybe. Like a Tiny Cupboard, you know? Rather than like, I feel like these clubs, it's like a right-wing conspiracy or something. They've got to be backed. There's got to be some kind of like dark Murdoch like money backing these clubs because they seem to want you to do this like racial political, right-wing, kind of like stereotyping, uh, making fun of all the things that you're not supposed to make fun of, like Trump. They want that side of, or who's the guy, Gutfield. The number one show in late night, Gutfield. The Fox News fucking, like, late. I've never seen it. I don't know anything about it, but apparently he's beating like Jimmy Fallon and fucking. Not that that's a good thing. That just shows you all of the smart people have gotten rid of their fucking TVs and they don't watch late night anymore. Like, the only people that have fucking TVs anymore are dumbasses who watch Fox News. They're the only people watching cable. All of the liberals are watching fucking, HBO Max and listening to podcasts and shit. Or some kind of, Criterion channel. Or Canopy. To be or not to be. Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew. Or that the everlasting had not fixed his cannon against self-slaughter. I learned that one a little bit in high school. So yeah, I don't know why they won't just let me. It's been frustrating not being able to like seize the moment and like build on this thing, and like I said, sort of weave together or like even maintain like a presence as sort of like, I don't know, out there doing it. It's like I can't even get to other people's open mics really, hardly. I haven't been going to the Pete's thing. I there's a lot of other stuff I don't go to. So this is something I started talking about earlier. Was one of the things I see through my Instagram is this guy in New Jersey, Damian Rucci, and this thing he keeps hashtagging the New Jersey Poetry Renaissance, which I think is super cool, actually, and sort of a corollary to what is happening here in the city, where there's like post-pandemic, I don't know if this is a new thing, if this is really a phenomenon, but this feels like the real boom to me. And if there is like a god, I think this will be like the comedy boom of the 80s. There was this comedy boom that a lot of these fucking comedians rode in the 80s. Seinfeld, Richard Lewis, whoever. Oh, Baudelaire. I think there's about to be a huge poetry boom. I think there's going to be a massive nationwide explosion of poetry open mics. Not that there isn't tons of that already, but from what I see in New York and in this New Jersey thing, it's just like, I don't know. I think people are waking up. People want to get on stage. They want to share stuff. They want to play music. It doesn't just have to be poetry. It'll be an open mic explosion. I think the internet has kind of unlocked a lot of people's creative energy, right? Where a lot of people are recording music. A lot of people are trying to be stand-up comedians. A lot of people think we have to. It's one of the top 10 jobs, right? Is like a fucking YouTuber. It's like one of the best, jobs you can get. And so a lot of people are trying to be artists, be creative. The live corollary of that is the open mic. Look at fucking Ed Sheeran, right? He has open mic written all over him. I mean, he's also kind of a turbo busker, but he's basically like an open mic host. Ed Sheeran. And he's, the top guitar player fucking guy, really. Honestly, he's the top singer-songwriter dude, right? Probably, I would say. Is he a millennial? He's kind of right between, he's like a young millennial. He's not a geriatric like me. Maybe let me go over to this other part of the castle. We'll go over to the other part of my castle. Yeah. So here's the play. Let me get you a sneak preview. I think they're at intermission or something. Are they on a rain delay? Do they do that in theater? There was a huge spider over here earlier. That's why yeah, that is the theater. That's the Delacorte right there, where all of the greats have tread the boards. Natalie Portman, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Christopher Walken, Kevin Kline, Pacino, James Earl Jones, Felicia Rashad. Remy Auberjonois. So here we are up on Elsinore. The Dane being introspective and moody this week. Did I have a nervous breakdown? I don't think so. I think, I have been doing the open mic for like 40 plus weeks straight or something. So I think Instagram creates a lot of problems that aren't there. I think that is one of the hardest things about whatever the culture I live in is. Social media is how we handle our fucking relationships in a lot of ways. And like, it creates a lot of problems that aren't there. If somebody doesn't like your post, if somebody doesn't look at your story, if somebody likes somebody else's post, if somebody is, I want my name on posters. I hate to say it, but that's what a lot of this is about. I haven't had my name on that many posters in life. And like, I'm seeing all these fucking posters and shit with other people's names on it. It's like, I want my name on a fucking poster, man. I want my name on a cool poster so people think I'm actually doing something that matters. It's just, it's like a cognitive dissonance to have this open mic that like people are enthusiastic about and have like no sense of success with my own. Like even these events that I'm booking like in the next 2 weeks, I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to get people to come out. I'm going to be right back where I was. Like, I can't even book people for it. It's hard to get people to even play these gigs. I haven't made a flyer yet. This is why I like doing an open mic, because it's a show that books itself. I don't have to message anybody. They message me. If I message somebody and ask them to play on this show, they'd probably be like, I don't know. I'd be like, please, you get half an hour. Saturday night, 9 p.m., Brooklyn. I'd rather do Monday night at midnight, 5 minutes, and buy 2 drinks. No, I'm just kidding. Is this a terrible live stream? Maybe this is not my best live stream. I mean, nobody's watching. I guess I can just make it private. I think it's an interesting location and shit. It's half the fun. Okay, so this New Jersey poetry renaissance. Let me talk about this for a second. I mean, I don't know that much about it, but it's like this guy, it says on his profile he hosts 9 shows a month. And it's like, I saw that and I was like, Jesus Christ, what am I doing? Why am I not doing this in New York? Why don't I just have why don't I just have a show every week? Or multiple shows a week? Why don't I just book shows everywhere, like, all the time? And the open mic will just be like my Monday. To be honest, I would love to have a Thursday open mic. I'd love to have a Monday and a Thursday open mic, and then I'd love to do like other shows every week. Have like a Saturday night show, a Friday, and poetry shows. I mean, part of it is like, I'm really bad at emailing and messaging, as people know. I'm really not good at responding or reaching out. And so, I mean, that's what booking these shows requires. Like, you have to send tons of emails, tons of messages. That's something that just like, I don't really want to do. It's not that fun, That's why I want other people to ask me to be on their shows. It just feels like if other people aren't asking to be on their shows, I mean, it just tells me I need to do better, right, as a performer. Like, I'm not good enough. If I was good enough, people would be fucking asking me to be on their fucking shows, There's a lot of thunder and lightning out here. I'm not hearing anything though, so it feels far away. And I gotta believe if there was like some kind of threat, they would totally evacuate this. The performance is gonna resume. They just said. So I'm like, there's this New Jersey poetry renaissance happening, where there's all these open mics and all these poets are all over the, they're all doing these open mics and writing and publishing, and it's like that's amazing. I would say that the same thing is happening in New York actually, and all these open mics that are sort of the circuit, you know, and there's other stuff even beyond, right? There's other stuff even beyond like this sort of Easy Paradise Pete's kind of nexus of people. There's the whole New York Poetry Society, there's Art Cafe, there's the Brooklyn Poets open mics. I would love to go to the Brooklyn Poets stuff, but it's like costs a bunch of money, and to be honest, their culture is just not really like. I know I'm never gonna win the fucking poem of the month. I know it'll never happen. I'm not that kind of poet, right? And it's insulting that they have their like Brooklyn Poet of the Week thing, because I know tons and tons of great Brooklyn poets that will never be on that fucking website, who have lived in Brooklyn for years and years and years. And yet, there's people that don't even live in Brooklyn that are Brooklyn Poet of the Week. It's like, I don't know. I'm just kind of talking about the landscape of poetry, and like part of my own personal like battle is like my ego kind of keeps me out of a lot of stuff, because I'm very judgmental about what I think is good and what I want to associate with, actually. And to be honest, a lot of this stuff I don't go to because I just know that they're not going to like my writing. Not that many people do out there, actually. But, what's great and what's important about hosting an open mic is you get to sort of like shape how you want it to do it, and so I get to show my work. I get to show. Can you hear that? That's the exciting production value here at Joseph Pabst Public Theater. They got some kind of big heavy duty soundtrack going on to drag people back into the action. Okay, I don't know if this security guy might be coming over to say something to me. Let's find out. Okay. This thing has already taken off without me having to do anything, really. Obviously. I mean, for months and months and months now, it's been growing, and I haven't even really been to it. To be honest, at this point, I'm afraid to go. Like, I'm such a jealous, like, person, and it's like a FOMO thing, maybe. Is everybody hanging out without me? Even though I like being alone, and I need to be alone, like, a lot of the time. And that's what often keeps me out of these social situations. But it's also like if I went to Brooklyn and saw, oh my God, all this history has happened, and what have I been doing? I've been sort of left in the dust. I'm no longer, a factor, or I don't want to be like dominating or some kind of like overbearing presence or something over the scene either. Like that's one thing about the New Jersey poetry renaissance thing, is like the guy, it's like he's hyping his shit a lot, and that's cool, but like I like that this is more of like a democratic kind of group equal thing. It's not just, hey, it's another Matt Proctor open mic, and aren't you guys having a great time, and like, to be honest, a few months ago when I was trying to figure out how to, back in January, February, when I was trying to figure out how to build out, there's this guy in Columbus, Ohio, this company, Excess Karaoke. We used to go to this karaoke every Tuesday at Rivari Room, Hound Dogs, Excess Karaoke, this guy Dave. And I mean, every fucking hipster scumbag, I think they had $1.50 PBRs. Hard to believe that that was a thing, but it was true. I think a Blue Moon was like $4, $4 or $5. I think 4, and that seemed expensive. That was like, fuck, $4, Jesus Christ, that's like a craft beer. So we go every Tuesday to this fucking thing. I mean, every hipster in fucking North Beach or whatever, Washington Beach. This was one of the origins of Washington Beach. This is where it all started, honestly, at Rivari Karaoke. And so it was just like, for whatever reason, it was the place. And so eventually this Dave guy built out this whole business where he was doing karaoke like 4 nights, 5 nights a week across town at every bar. He owned the karaoke machines. And so he was making money hand over fist. He had this dope house. And it's like, that's how I envisioned my open mic empire, the Easy Paradise open mic empire. I'd have it'd be like karaoke business. I'd have I think open mics are the new karaoke. And I think karaoke was like the last generation's like prime art form in a weird way. But I think open mics they're like the same thing, but they're one step better. Not that karaoke isn't great, but you can do karaoke at the open mic. I mean, to be honest, a lot of the acts are sort of like karaoke. Anything that's like a cover song or something. And that's cool. I love karaoke. I love it. It's one of my favorite things. I think it's one of the prime symbols of our modern generation and age. But I think open mic is kind of one step. It's the next step. You do your own material. You write your own songs, right? That's when you really come into... and it's just about giving a voice to everyone, right? We want to move into a non-hierarchical space of sharing rather than some kind of ego, celebrity, fame, packaging, selling, consumerism. This person's a genius, this person's super talented. There's a lot of incredible, genius, talented people out there who don't get nurtured like they need to because all of the resources. I was just looking at Bob Dylan just unloaded his mansion in Scotland. He had 16 room, or I think it had 10 bathrooms or something, mansion in Scotland. It said he went there a couple days a year, a few weeks a year or something with his brother. He needs this mansion in Scotland to go a few weeks a year, obviously. Nothing against Bob. That's just an example of like, I read this thing the other day about Jim Belushi was saying he lost $400,000 on like a roulette spin. That kind of put things in perspective where it's like, man, that really actually sucks that Jim Belushi has so much money that he can afford to like blow. Like, you don't think about celebrities like this. When you're like, oh, I love so-and-so, I love Jim Belushi, or I love, certain entertainer. You don't really think like, their kids probably have basketball courts and pools and shit. And like, they probably go out to fancy dinners every fucking night. They probably drink like really expensive wine. Like, they're rich people. They're not like us. They're not like me anyway. Chattering out here on the, up on the bulwark, or what, I don't know. I don't even know what the fuck this thing is called. The turret, the ramparts. Who's there? So I'm at a place in my life, I don't know, maybe everybody does this, but just like I'm constantly thinking about like, I'm a lot older than a lot of these people. A lot of these people who are part of the open mic revolution are like in their mid 20s or maybe late 20s or early 20s. I don't even know if any of them are even in their 30s hardly. I guess Ed is, but I'm even like older than him by like a few years. And so like I've got a few years on everybody. And so, I should have been doing this when I was 20. I don't know where I got lost, but like this is definitely something I should have been doing when I was 20. And it's exciting that it's happening now, but I'm also feeling all this pressure because it's like, man, I've lived in New York since 2010. I'm not like new here. I'm not like some person that's young and optimistic and hopeful. Like I'm kind of bitter, I'm kind of jaded, I'm kind of disillusioned, particularly when it comes to poetry stuff, and it's really not helping me. I'm like kind of like I'm being like salty towards a lot of people that don't really deserve it. But it's just because I've been like in the waiting room for 10 years. And so I'm glad that, a lot of people are catalyzed and getting out there and publishing themselves and doing readings and just putting energy and putting activity out there. That's what we need to do. Book more stuff, book each other, print, publish each other, and publish me. Like that's part of what's frustrating about this is like, I don't mean to be petty or like small about any of it, but it's like, it is frustrating to feel like, everybody went from like being super supportive of what I was doing and super enthusiastic to be involved. And then they just kind of like went and did their own thing and forgot about me. And like, nobody published me in their things they're publishing. Not that many people from the open mic have asked me to do stuff. Joseph from Joseph and the Severe Dudes, shout out to him. He's a real ass motherfucker. He's a G. He's an awesome dude. Love Joseph from Joseph and the Severe Dudes. Great musician. Really excellent. I heard this thing in this documentary T-Bone Burnett was saying about Llewyn Davis. He was saying, play the song like it's a lullaby. Play it like you're singing it to a baby. And it seems like Joseph and the Severe Dudes is good at that. He's got a really nice touch. I want to learn from that, And then Matthew Silver has booked me. But to be honest, and shout out to Matthew Silver. Thank you for being so nice and supportive. I'm not asking for a lot. It's like if people even asked me to do 5 minutes on anything, I'd be thrilled. I'm thrilled to do anything, But it would also be nice to have my fucking name on a poster. Even the events that I did in May and shit, it's like I don't think my name was on any poster except the one that Ashley made. Which, thanks Ashley, but people pay attention to this stuff, right? This is one of the banes of my existence and one of the things I hate about social media, but like, this is like your clout score. Who are you reading with? Where are you reading? How good is the flyer? Is your name on the flyer? And it's just something that I'm realizing is just like the way that karma works. It's not that transactional. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to book all these people and put them on stage in my open mic and they have to book me back. Like, it doesn't work that way. Like people don't have to book you. People don't have to, they book the people that they think are the most talented or the people that they think are good. That's who they want on their show. And like I said in the other broadcast, I know like I'm a little of a controversial or polarizing entertainer, and I can be wild and kind of disruptive in a way that's maybe not good, but I don't know. I wanna get better, and I don't know how to build anything. It's frustrating having, I've been out of college for 15 years or something almost. I've been out of high school for 20 years, and like, what do I have to show for it? These are the things that I'm sort of coming to terms with. And I'm in this living situation that puts a lot of pressure on me where it's like, I don't know where I'm going to go from here. You know, my family, I haven't seen my family in over 2 years. That's something that I think about like constantly. And like, my parents are getting older, so it's like, what am I gonna do? You know, like I'm not in my early 20s where it's like everything is sort of before me and I'm on my way up. It's like I need something to happen like pretty soon. And I don't even, or else I don't even know what I'm gonna do. You know, I've alienated myself from a lot of the people who could have helped me maybe get into like a good grad school. That's something that like I probably should embrace and try to do rather than constantly like railing against the MFA thing. I wish if they would accept me, I would do it. You know, at this point, if I could get into fucking Brooklyn College and they would accept me, I would absolutely do it. If it was affordable, you know, or free, that would be excellent. But like, I don't even know if that's a realistic possibility at this point. And so I don't know what the fuck my future is going to be. Like, I suppose I could just get a job in New York doing some kind of, I don't even know, office thing or AV thing and like be a little more full time and like make a living and just sort of like stabilize myself. In a certain way, I've never learned how to do that as an adult. I had health problems when I was in my late 20s, mid and late 20s, and I thought I was going to die. And so that's really what caused me into my current kind of like alternative lifestyle, shall we say, where I don't work that much and like smoke weed all the time and go to open mics and write poetry sort of in this constant drip of observation and et cetera, et cetera. What if I did this? Maybe I'll do this. That's kind of exciting, right? It's backlit, but whatever. It's a castle. Did you hear that? Is that a fucking raccoon or something? Jesus Christ. That's the thing that is scary about being out here at night is like there are a lot of crazy fucking animals. There's raccoons and rats, and there was a big ass spider here just a second ago. So I'm gonna try to do 2 hours. Yeah, so these are the things that I'm like, you know, that are putting pressure. When I made this post, like I said, I wasn't trying to be mean or call anybody out. It's like literally, it's just like I don't, you know, what I'm banking on or what I would like to happen, my dream, and what I'm trying to build with this open mic is like I want people to get my writing. I want people to look at my vlogs. I want people to watch my live streams. I want people to see what I'm doing at the open mic, see this poetry life, this network of poets, the New York City poetry renaissance, let's call it, the new New York school. And like, you know, I could be a huge asset. I could be like a force for good if like given the right resources and the right kind of like platform. And so, you know, the open mic is a great place for that. But I'm trying to figure out how do I build on that, right? It's happening slowly, but like one of the components that's missing is I'm not getting around to these other events and things. Like, you know, I'd like to be just purely supportive. I'd love to just be the guy that's like, hey, awesome. I love that you're booking something. Way to go. I'm glad all these people are on it, you know. I'm glad my friends are getting booked on stuff, you know, but I am kind of like, I don't know. I'm trying to get ahead with my own thing, and I don't know. It's like so much of New York is sort of like pay to play, and people really don't give you. It's hard to get these opportunities, you know. Like I said, I've been doing it for over 10 years. Maybe I should focus more on writing and trying to get better at that, and then the opportunities would just come to you, but you know, the open mic is like the only thing I know how to do where it's like I'm going to put on my own show. I'm going to do it sort of in this DIY way, no budget, but like, you know, give it a little bit of like theatricality and enthusiasm and high energy and all of that stuff. But also try to make it as smart and try, the open mic is like a container for whatever ideas I have. One of the things I look at is Tim Heidecker's office hours, right? He does a weekly live stream where he'll have guests and city of the day, and he do sort of like, I don't know, it's more like On Cinema at the Cinema, I guess. The way that On Cinema at the Cinema kind of like contains this whole fictional universe within this very limited kind of setup. It's just like two guys in a theater talking about movies, supposedly. Yet it opens up into this whole crazy thing with Dr. San and like, there's an ant on my screen. And, the fucking festival that he does, whatever it is, the electric desert or whatever the fuck it is, and his vape juice, and, it just opens up into all this stuff that's sort of like a whole universe. We're in the era, right, of these creative universes. Marvel creative universe, all of these networks and shit, Star Wars universe, and so On Cinema at the Cinema, that's sort of world building, I guess. That's something that I want to try to play with, and that I try to do with the open mic a little bit, is like have these kind of running storylines and create a world in sort of a sense that there's like a bigger thing. It's a real show. It's not just like some stupid open mic that like, we're just doing to get our reps in. It's like, no, this is the Tonight Show. This is Saturday Night Live. This is American Idol. This is Laugh-In. This is the Ed Sullivan Show. It's like, we're in New York. It's a variety show. It's not just like a practice. It's like, we're all going to be great. And it's going to be, it's also modern, right, in the sense that it's like this quick jumping around to all this different stuff. Music, literature, comedy, performance art, weird shit, guy duct taping his head. That's the form, right? But that's just one form. I've been doing these events like the Slooge parties, the Last Resort parties, the fucking Portal at the Spa parties, so it's like there is this whole lineage of like events that I've been doing that are kind of like a form, actually. They are kind of like an art form, I feel like booking a show and marrying it to sort of like a party. It's almost like a happening. Like the Slooge was such an incredible environment, having wrestling, music, poetry, bluegrass, dance. We had a little bit of comedy, a little jazz. There was always performance art, Buteau, theater, kind of writhing. There was a lot of stuff that happened at Slooge parties, and it was environmental. So it was like a big kind of epic eureka kind of work of theater. So they're going to hold for a few minutes due to weather. Should I move? Get a new viewpoint? Are they done? They're clapping. People are clapping. What does that mean? They're clapping down there. You can see them clapping. Maybe I need to make this stuff add up a little clearer. That's something I've been thinking about, like with the Scenes from Life thing, is maybe I do need to like include more like pithy kind of like storytelling like I used to, and explain more what's going on, include just like the best clips of everything, including performance. If I really just edited like the absolute best clips of performance and got better footage, maybe that's something that, part of the point of what I'm doing, right? It's like the aesthetic is the economics, right? And so being somebody that has no money and being in this ultra-capitalist city with the rich, it's the most expensive city in the world. These super talls. Private equity bought it. Private equity's buying everything. Private equity bought the open mic. Private equity bought my Rotcore International. Private equity is just buying everything up and hollowing it out for the stockholders. And so, by doing things that are sort of defiantly no budget in the face of all that, and not taking their money, and remaining sort of in your own ideology and your own kind of derive, by possessing as much of my time as I possibly can, and by doing things according to my own beliefs and what I want to do, writing poetry, listening to myself, listening to other people, listening to the world, listening to whatever voices are out there, paying attention to everything, the surround, the perceptions, the moments of life, tracing that. These are all a practice, but they're also like an ethic. They're all kind of a statement against, the way that I publish my books, right? Publishing this using resources and materials from Columbia University, and sort of doing it in the face of them, doing it without their permission, defiantly against them. Oh boy. Should I move to the other side or something? Is this a dumb place to stand? It probably is, right, I guess, on this fucking tower. Is that why other people have left? I guess I've been up here long enough, I probably could walk away if I wanted to, right? But, okay, now I'm hearing lightning. That's not good. Take shelter. Is this a good place to do this? I really don't know. Oh boy. That doesn't look good. It's moving in. I do kind of need to check the weather. I don't know. Maybe this hasn't been the most exciting broadcast. But, I'm trying to talk about the realities of being an artist and the pressures that I'm under, and this hasn't been necessarily the best or fullest explanation of why I had sort of the Instagram meltdown. I feel like probably a lot of people are wondering why I went off the deep end. But, I suppose people can probably tell that I'm probably like manic depressive or something. I'm so up all the time that even to myself, it's like I'm kind of surprised. This happens to me every once in a while. Maybe it's a drinking thing. I think drinking definitely has something to do with it. I was so just like hungover and like, I don't know. I think it has an emotional effect, in a weird way. Like I have like kind of pancreas problems or something, some kind of weird problems in my left side, and I do think it's like emotional, actually. It's like, what is it? The pancreas like processes sugar or something. There's a lack of sweetness in my life, or maybe too much sweetness. There's not enough sweetness, so I'm trying to compensate by eating sweet things. And it's also like a battery. Your pancreas is like a battery for, like the thing that people comment on with my performances and stuff is like the energy, and that is a lot of what I'm working on in a performance, actually. So it's an accurate thing to talk about, but it probably does affect the battery of the pancreas. And the pancreas being the thing that provides this sort of sweetness or positive energy or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm just pulling all of this out of my ass. I don't actually know anything. I've been more or less homeschooling myself my entire adult life. I'm like some kind of weird homeschooled adult. I'm just hoping, I'm really hoping I'll have some kind of breakthrough. It's like some kind of like I'll just get recognition as some kind of interesting sort of outsider artist, or there are a lot of interesting things that we're doing and that we're involved with. The New York Times should be talking about the fucking New York City poetry renaissance and the downtown open mic revolution that's happening. They should be talking about what's happening at KGB and Pete's and all over Brooklyn, and it should spread, right? That's the goal with creating these sort of like media. They're making some other kind of announcement. It's like you're really, all I'm trying to do with this open mic is just inspire people to be creative. And, there's a lot of like kind of lame, cliched sloganeering about creativity, but I think, creativity is just sort of like, is like the way that we bear fruit or something. In like the same way that like it's good for like the vitality of the world for there to be this sort of like tumble of variety and like profuse kind of dynamic throwing forth of like expression through by nature, new a lot of things need to be born, right? Because they will be wiped out. They won't survive. And so I feel like creativity is kind of like that. These are the fruits that our hands bear, our brains, our mouths. These are the apples and pears and oranges and shit that fall off of us, the trees of us, the moving trees of us. And I know that our society, just because of my own upbringing and my own experience kind of studying American capitalist corporate culture, I mean, it feels like that's sort of what the first 25 years of my life were about, was just trying to come to terms with that or understand, first of all, just being born into it. And then, in my 20s, sort of trying to figure out what the fuck was happening to me and how it was going to fit into the world. Our society is not encouraging. I mean, poetry is a great example of that because it's so unpopular, right? What does it mean when it's so unpopular and yet it was something that I felt was just like saved my life or something? It gave my life, I don't know, juice or purpose, and still does. I mean, it's what I do. It is what I do all the time because I enjoy it, and it's how I make work. It's what I do. It's what I do with my time, with my energy. I want to think, I want to carve that thinking and sculpt that thinking into sort of word art and say things. I want to say things to people. I want to share ideas. I want to make jokes. I want to comment on society, on what's going on. I want to talk about trends. I want to talk about gossip. I want to talk about music. And poetry is a thing that, I've found, there is a way to sort of accommodate all of that stuff. It's harder to do that. Or I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why poetry is really a good. That's why our society smothers us in stimulation and in overly kind of produced, sweetened, enhanced. They want to disable the agency of the viewer and the consumer. They want people to be deadened in their sensitivity, in their consciousness to life around them. They want them to live surrounded by screens, by computer screen, by Xbox fucking games, by the cold comfort of all that is digital, the mall of the internet. Xbox Live, the Matrix, basically, right? Just plug it into the fucking pod or whatever. We're going to harness your lifeblood for energy. You know, poetry is a way of living in real life for me. It's a way of taking a look at real life, examining real life, making notes about it. That's really all. I feel like a detective, but it's just like about kind of like, ooh, shit. Maybe I should have left a while ago. That was a beast of a fucking lightning. I mean, how bad is this gonna get? Should I look at a fucking radar? I mean, there's still people in this goddamn theater. I gotta imagine if it was gonna get bad that they would have told all these people to just go. When I was a little kid at COSI, which was the Center of Science and Industry, they had this exhibit, Who Done It, which was like a crime scene. And they sold these little notepads, Who Done It, and you'd write down like, you know, observations or clues. That was sort of like the first notebook I ever had. And I was so excited by like this pocket notebook. And like I could put little paper in my pocket and I was going to write things down. I was going to be a detective. I was so psyched about this, right? And in a certain way, that's what I'm still doing, actually. That's really my whole process, is like carrying a little pocket notebook around and making little observations and trying to crystallize them in some kind of, you know, perfect little sentence or language, you know, fracture. I want to get a good shot of this lightning. God damn it, I've still got 40 minutes of this to go. See, the thing is, I feel like I can't leave where I am because I don't want to get caught out there in the middle of some kind of rain thing. But I also feel like maybe this isn't the best place to be. And maybe I should get moving. I don't know. These people don't necessarily seem worried. So yeah, I mean, like the fucking point with all this is to just like try to help people get free, you know, and try to help people become artists, to become alive. You know, I think live performance, sharing your work in front of people in sort of a cabaret-like setting is kind of like, I don't know, an essential like fucking human experience, just like fucking being around a campfire or whatever. But it's also a way as an artist to like get in touch with the social. As writers, you know, like it's kind of isolated, introverted world and job and profession. And so to have this component where it's like you can go, I heard this about David Wojnarowicz. Like he would paint during the day and then he would go out to shows every night. You know, because it's like, yeah, you work during the day, you work on your art, but then you go out into the world at night, you hear the news, you know, you listen to the other performers. You know, I think that's one of the exciting things about the open mic, is it's really like a trading post or a meeting post where it's like everybody brings their news. Some people sing the news, some people have comedy, some people have poems, some people talk it, but it's like you share your little news from your little corner of the world, you know. And it's like a newspaper and a magazine in that way. This is like my lowest rated broadcast ever. Maybe people watch it later. I don't know. I think it's cool. For nothing else than this lightning footage, it's going to be super dope. And just, I don't know, kind of incidentals of this might be interesting. You know, I mean, I suppose all of that is already happening. So it's like, should just be happy about it. I don't know. How do we take this further? How do we make it? What do we do with it? You know, it's sort of just now starting, right? That's how it feels. It feels like this wave is only sort of beginning to rise as far as like this sort of group of poets, this sort of, you know, and this is something that I have seen with the older generation of people in New York, is this is how they kind of comport themselves. They go out every night to different open mics. They'll have openings, they'll have readings, they're constantly having book launches, this and that. You know, it's every night they're doing stuff, and their scene, you know, is moving to all these different places, art galleries, the library, reading there, New York Poetry Festival. That's great. That's amazing. That's definitely like kind of what we've got going on now. They're canceling. They're canceling the show. Does that mean I should leave? Oh, God. I guess, let me go. Let me just see what the fuck. Is that stupid? Is that the wrong move? Ay, ay, ay. I mean, I'm not trying to see the show. It's just like, I don't want to get rained on or struck by lightning or something. I guess we'll find. Maybe I shouldn't walk around holding this metal thing like this. Fuck, is this stupid? I guess it's like an umbrella, kind of. Is it better to be in the fucking wood thing, do you think? Yeah, maybe I should sign off. This is an embarrassing way to end this. Oh my God. What are all those people gonna do? Where are they gonna go? Did I get all my shit? I hope so. There it is. I'm sorry, I'm like so kind of all over the place and like distracted here. I'm probably just repeating everything I've ever fucking said on this before. I mean, you know, I guess I'm just trying to talk mostly about why I made that post and just sort of go into detail about, you know, what the greater goals are. And am I in the fucking ramble? This is not where I want to be. Well, at least if something happens to me, it'll be on fucking video. How the fuck do I get out of here? Well, there's a raccoon. This is like a more and more fucking common experience for me. Okay, I got my... How the fuck do I get out of here, man? Probably that way, I guess. Is this interesting? This is like the Blair Witch. This is probably the most exciting thing that's ever happened to me on my live stream. It's got to be this way. There's got to be a way out this way. I mean, there just has to be. Okay, I think that's like the track and shit right there. Oh, I don't want to go further into the fucking, like, woods. This is actually a pretty normal thing for me recently to be kind of caught in one of these parks after dark in some kind of sketchy situation, but I guess I'm glad I'm live streaming because, you know, now if anything happens, there will be a fucking record of it. Where the fuck am I? Okay, so this is the transverse right here, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the fucking transverse. Oh my God. I switch the... Yeah, I mean, I wish that I could just do more to be involved. You know, like I wish we could have some kind of workshop thing where we're able to kind of like go more into detail about, you know, the work. You know, the open mic is a workshop of sorts, but it's not really like a close reading or, you know, I'd like to get into more things like that, I suppose, in a way, as a component. You know, I mean, you know, one model for how to do it right is like the Brooklyn Poets thing. The way that that was built out, I mean, that was basically an open mic, essentially. He started doing a workshop before the open mic, and the open mic was only once a fucking month, you know. Started doing all these other workshops, charging for the workshops, selling t-shirts. You know, I really need an Easy Paradise t-shirt. Like, that's kind of a fucking, that would be, I mean, part of it is I'm not really minded towards stuff like that. Like, I'm not trying to necessarily, I mean, although I should be, I'm not being like pragmatic about how to monetize that kind of stuff, you know, and I definitely could have made a lot more money doing this already. I mean, I've never put out a tip jar. We don't charge a cover charge. You know, if I asked people to tip me directly, they probably would have done it through the whole winter time because people were having such a great time. They were just kind of throwing money around. Like, I didn't really get a piece of any of that because I get a certain amount of money a week if we make our target. And so I've got kind of a naive, lazy, I don't know, I'm just anti-money. I don't really like thinking about money. To me, it's like there should be, and this is, you know, there should be like an energetic equality to it and sort of a karmic equality to it. Meaning, if I create a certain amount of energy, the money should be there, you know, to build, you know, it's like that's one of the things that's mystifying to me, like about life, is like, I don't know how this stuff is paying off. I mean, it's beautiful that like all this is happening and all this creative energy is happening and all this like, what, like I said, this is the point, is to just get this sort of like bounty, you know, get all this poetry happening, get that, you know, that's like a death killer. You know, our society is so full of death and murder and violence and, you know, lack of subtlety. And like all of this stuff is the antidote to that. You know, sharpening people's senses, getting them to pay closer attention, getting them to face their fear by getting up and performing in public, by reading in public. You know, I think it's totally natural for people to want to be performers. And as poets, it's definitely, you know, we need to connect to our bodies more. We need to perform. We need to move. There's movement in the rhythms of the language, right? And in the sentences and the grammar and all of that. Oh my God, I hope I don't get struck by fucking lightning. Where is the safest place to be? I don't actually know. Probably not holding up an iron rod with a fucking cell phone on it. But I suppose I don't think the lightning's actually that close. I don't think it's actually like an immediate danger. It's not even raining here, so. This is something I've been meaning to experiment with my live streams anyway. It's just like kind of walking with them and talking while I'm walking and seeing how that goes. Doing streams from kind of throughout the city at different places. Maybe this is a good place to sit for a second or something. I feel like if I sit under a tree, I probably won't get struck by lightning. Does that sound credible? Oh, well, this will just add danger and suspense for the viewer. Will he die? Will he get struck by lightning and die? You have to keep watching it and find out. People love that kind of shit. See, that's what I'm saying. Is like I find, you know, I was listening to this interview with Bob, and I hate to go back to Bob, but like, he was talking about, you know, like, he has this kind of quote in this recent interview about he doesn't watch dog ass shows. There's a lot of dog ass shows on TV that he doesn't watch. He, you know, and I think he was talking about like violent shows or like where all that stuff's kind of gratuitous. He watches Coronation Street because he said something in this earlier interview where he was like, I forget if he was talking about music or TV or what, but it was like, he's like, you know, there's a lot of sick people out there. And these people are sick, and, you know, the entertainment that they like is sick. The things that they resonate with are kind of sick. And, like, I'm not blaming those people. Ooh, is it raining? Fuck. But, like, I think this is what I see in comedy. You know, is these people are, like, sick. And I don't mean that, like, in a good way. I mean, like sick. Oh, fuck, it's raining. I might have to kill this if it's raining. I can't get my cell phone wet. Oh, shit, man. Oh, boy. All right, I might have to stop. Okay, I think it's about to come down. Thank you for watching. I'll get back on soon. Is it gonna downpour? It feels like... Remember how I was just saying all that shit, how it wasn't raining? Over here for a second. When I was in the ramble back there a couple minutes ago, I saw somebody, I think somebody giving somebody else a blowjob. There was somebody who was like down on their knees. And they got up real fast when I walked by. Like that person, I think that's what the ramble is for, you know, it's for cruising. Oh my God, what a disaster this is. This is like Woody Allen movie. Rainy day in New York. All right, what if I'm right here for a sec? All right, there's like this awning thing here, hold on. See, look, the drama. Look at this. All right, maybe I'll just chill under this thing. This is like a fucking leaf canopied covered walkway. Okay. Is this a spot? I mean, Jesus Christ, I'm really trying to stay in this for 2 hours. Maybe I should just call it. I don't know. Maybe this isn't even interesting to watch. No one's watching. Ah, shit. Okay, yeah, I gotta just be done with this. Thank you for watching. I'll get back on soon. All right.